Self-perception. Do you truly understand yourself? Have you ever paused amidst the hustle and bustle of life and asked yourself, who am I? This seemingly simple yet profoundly challenging question invites you to look deep within yourself. It opens a window into the intricate world of self-perception. Are you living as the person you truly want to be, or merely as the version others expect of you? Does the image you see in the mirror each morning genuinely reflect who you are, or is it distorted by societal expectations and the limitations you impose on yourself? Imagine standing before a shattered mirror. Each fragment reflects a different perspective of the same person. One shard highlights your greatest successes, while another lays bare the failures you'd rather hide. In the mirror's darkened corners, dreams you've long forgotten or abandoned may linger, dreams cast aside because you believed you weren't good enough, lucky enough, or deserving enough. So, which reflection truly represents you? And what is shaping the way you perceive yourself? Psychologists describe self-perception not as a static state of mind, but as a dynamic, ongoing process. It's the way you construct an image of yourself based on experiences, the opinions of others, and subtle cues from society. But here's the intriguing part: that image isn't always accurate. Like a dusty or distorted mirror, our self-perception is easily influenced by personal biases and external pressures. The ancient Greek philosopher Socrates famously said, "To know thyself is the beginning of all wisdom." Though spoken thousands of years ago, this statement remains remarkably relevant today. In the age of social media, where people continuously share the perfect moments of their lives, understanding oneself has become more challenging than ever. Are your feelings about yourself real, or are they mere reflections of curated social media posts, judgmental glances, or societal standards imposed upon you? Consider a simple scenario. How do you evaluate yourself when faced with a new project or a major challenge? Do you often think, "I'm not good enough for this"? If so, you're not alone. According to Dr. Carol Dweck, renowned for her theory of the growth mindset, many people are trapped in a fixed mindset, the belief that their abilities are limited to what they were born with. This mindset inadvertently narrows opportunities for growth because they're reluctant to challenge negative beliefs about themselves. What's fascinating is that our self-perception isn't shaped solely by our internal thoughts, but also heavily influenced by how we believe others perceive us. American sociologist Charles Cooley's looking glass self theory explains that we often construct our self-image based on how we think others see us. Can you recall the last time you altered your behavior for fear of being judged? This demonstrates that even when we think we're living for ourselves, external perspectives often subtly guide us. Cultural and societal norms also heavily influence how we evaluate ourselves. In a world where success is often measured by wealth, fame, and status, many people feel inadequate simply because they don't meet these benchmarks. However, what we often fail to recognize is that these standards don't always reflect true human value. Consider historical figures like Vincent van Gogh, Nikola Tesla, or Emily Dickinson. They were often dismissed as failures in their time. Had they relied solely on societal validation, would they have left behind the legacies we admire today? So how do you break free from these distorted images and begin to see yourself more clearly? The answer isn't about changing your circumstances, but transforming the way you perceive them. Renowned psychologist Carl Rogers once said, "Self-acceptance is the first step to change instead of striving for perfection. Focus on understanding and embracing who you are." This doesn't mean ignoring your flaws, but facing them with honesty and courage. Here's a small exercise. Ask yourself, what would I do if no one judged me? Who would I become if I weren't afraid of failure? The answers might surprise you because they reveal the truest version of yourself, the person you aspire to be. Interestingly, As you begin to perceive yourself more authentically, you'll also attract more positivity from the world around you. Are you ready to uncover the most authentic version of yourself? In the following sections, we'll explore how self-perception is formed, how it influences your life, and, most importantly, how you can rewrite your story. But first, pause and ask yourself, how well do you truly understand yourself? The elements that shape self-perception. The story of Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci once said, "Every artist paints themselves into their work." This profound observation applies not just to artists, but to all of us. Even if you're not an artist, every action and thought is a brushstroke in the self-portrait you create. But the fascinating thing is that this portrait is never complete. It evolves daily, shaped by your experiences, the people you meet, and the subtle messages you absorb from society. Think about personal experiences. Have you ever felt that a small failure in work or relationships made you doubt your worth? Painful experiences often leave deep marks, shaping negative thought patterns. This phenomenon, known as negativity bias in psychology, means that adverse events linger longer in our minds than positive ones. So, if you've ever felt not good enough, it might not reflect reality, but rather the accumulation of negative events. The opinions of others looking glass self. American sociologist Charles Cooley's theory of the looking glass self suggests that we often form our self-image based on how we believe others perceive us. For instance, if you think others see you as intelligent, you'll likely feel more confident. Conversely, if you think they view you as a failure, it may significantly affect your self-esteem. The problem is that these perceptions often don't align with reality. They're subjective interpretations. Consider the life of Vincent van Gogh. During his lifetime, he sold only one painting and was dismissed as a failure by those around him. Van Gogh internalized these negative opinions, viewing himself as unworthy. This likely contributed to his mental health struggles. Yet, his legacy today demonstrates that a person's true value isn't defined by the opinions of others. Cultural and societal norms. Another critical factor is the societal standards imposed upon us. From a young age, we're taught that success requires academic excellence, a stable career, and a perfect life. However, these rigid expectations often disregard individual differences. In Japan, the term hikikomori describes young people who isolate themselves because they feel they cannot meet the high expectations of family and society. This shows how societal pressure can stifle personal self-perception, leading to profound inner turmoil. Synthesis. These factors, personal experiences, societal opinions, and cultural standards, combine to create a distorted mirror of self-perception. But the key is understanding that this image isn't the ultimate truth. Instead, it's shaped by complex interactions between you, society, and the stories you tell yourself. Buddha's teachings include this insightful quote, "No one can hurt you as deeply as your own thoughts." This reminds us that, rather than letting others or circumstances define our self-perception, we must begin by controlling our own thoughts and emotions. Illustrations through history and social context. Abraham Lincoln and his inner struggles. When we think of Abraham Lincoln, we often imagine a resilient leader who guided the U.S. through its darkest times. But few know that behind this strong facade lay a man who struggled deeply with self-doubt and fear of failure. Lincoln once wrote, "I have been driven to my knees many times by the overwhelming conviction that I had nowhere else to go. Double quotes. In his early years, Lincoln faced continuous setbacks from political losses to personal tragedies. He experienced profound depression, describing it as a deep, dark sadness where no light could penetrate. Even those around him doubted his abilities, with some openly questioning his potential. Yet, Lincoln persevered. He reframed failure as a stepping stone rather than a verdict on his worth. He said, "Every defeat teaches me how to move forward." His story reminds us that self-perception isn't fixed. It evolves with how we choose to confront life's challenges. Social media and the comparison trap. In today's world, social media acts as a new kind of mirror, one that often distorts reality. We're bombarded daily by perfect photos and curated stories of success, making it easy to feel inadequate. Studies from the University of Pennsylvania reveal a direct link between excessive social media use and higher levels of anxiety and depression. Why? Because social media not only connects people, but also fuels a silent arena of constant comparison. The flaw is in forgetting that these posts are merely highlights, not full stories. A single dazzling photo doesn't reveal the struggles behind the scenes. A tale of triumph doesn't include sleepless nights or repeated failures. Carl Rogers, one of the 20th century's leading psychologists, emphasized that living a meaningful life requires accepting yourself as a developing being rather than striving for unattainable perfection. He remarked, "Acceptance is the first step to change. Instead of comparing ourselves to others, we must focus on understanding and loving who we are." Societal pressures and isolation. Consider Japan's hikikomori phenomenon once more, an example of how societal expectations can lead to self-imposed isolation. But this issue transcends Japan. In any society, external pressures can lead us to forget our intrinsic value. We become consumed by what we should be, rather than who we truly are. Buddha's teachings once again resonate. No one saves us but ourselves. No one can, and no one may. It's a call to remember that our worth is not in meeting external expectations, but in finding peace and purpose within ourselves. Self-perception and the stories we tell ourselves. Self-perception as a continuous story. How you perceive yourself isn't an absolute truth, but a story you choose to tell yourself. This idea is simple, yet profound. Every day, you write a new chapter in your life's book. These chapters are shaped not only by real events, but by how you choose to interpret them. Consider the example of Nelson Mandela, one of the greatest leaders of the 20th century. Throughout his 27 years in prison, Mandela could have easily let resentment and injustice define his self-perception. Instead, he chose to tell a story of perseverance, hope, and faith in humanity. Mandela once said, "I am not a product of my circumstances. I am a product of my decisions." This illustrates that even when circumstances are beyond your control, you can still choose how to respond. The story you tell about yourself influences not only your self-perception, but also how others see you. The power of self-talk. Research shows that the way we talk to ourselves, our self-talk, significantly impacts self-perception. If you constantly tell yourself, "I'm not good enough," "I don't deserve this," or "everything works against me," these thoughts become truths in your mind. On the other hand, positive affirmations can help you build a stronger self-image. For instance, legendary boxer Muhammad Ali famously declared, "I said I was the greatest long before I knew I was." Ali used affirmations to shape not just his mindset, but also how the world perceived him. This confidence carried him to greatness both in and out of the boxing ring. The impact of memory and reframing. Another factor influencing self-perception is memory. Past experiences, especially painful ones, can act as anchors, dragging you back to negative thought patterns. But here's the interesting part. Memory isn't fixed. It can be reframed over time through the stories you tell about those events. Take Oprah Winfrey, for example. She grew up in poverty and endured abuse during her childhood. Oprah had every reason to see herself as a victim. But instead of letting her past define her, she reframed it as a journey of resilience. Oprah once said, "Turn your wounds into wisdom." She used her negative experiences as a foundation for personal growth, eventually becoming one of the world's most influential figures. Choosing your story a tool for change. Psychologist Carl Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." This means that to change how you perceive yourself, you must first be aware of the story you're telling. One practical way to do this is by keeping a journal. Write down your thoughts and emotions daily. This helps you recognize negative patterns and replace them with more positive narratives. Additionally, documenting your small successes can build a more optimistic self-image. The story of Thomas Edison and lessons from failure. Thomas Edison is a perfect example of controlling your narrative. When asked about his 10,000 failures before inventing the light bulb, Edison famously replied, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Instead of letting these unsuccessful attempts undermine his self-worth, he framed them as steps toward success. Edison's story teaches us that you don't need to overhaul your entire life to change your self-perception. Sometimes shifting how you interpret setbacks is enough. The impact of your story on society. The story you tell about yourself not only influences you, but also resonates with the world around you. If you choose to tell a story of positivity, gratitude, and belief in personal growth, you can inspire others. This is especially important in the age of social media, where your narrative can reach thousands, if not millions. For instance, Malala Yousafzai, the youngest Nobel Peace Prize laureate, used her personal story of fighting for education as a way to change global perceptions. Instead of remaining silent after being attacked, Malala turned her story into a call to action, transforming the lives of millions of children worldwide. Strategies for maintaining balance and nurturing a positive self-story, the challenge of balance in today's world. The modern world is full of distractions and pressures that can easily lead you into negative self-stories. Social media, work demands, family expectations, and societal norms all compete for your attention, often shaking the foundation of your self-perception. Maintaining balance isn't about eliminating negative influences entirely. It's about learning to face and process them wisely. Strategy 1. Focus on core values. What are your core values? What brings meaning and fulfillment to your life? These values form the foundation of your self-story. Mahatma Gandhi is a prime example. Throughout his life, he remained steadfast in his commitment to peace, nonviolence, and truth. Despite ridicule, imprisonment, and hardship, Gandhi never let others define him. He said, "Strength does not come from physical capacity. It comes from an indomitable will." Write down 3-5 values that matter most to you. Whenever you feel lost, revisit this list and ask, do my actions reflect these values? Strategy 2. Build self-care habits. Self-care isn't just about eating healthy or exercising. It's about taking time to connect with yourself and doing what brings you peace. For instance, novelist Haruki Murakami maintains a strict routine of rising early, writing for several hours, then running and meditating. Murakami believes this discipline keeps him balanced and fuels his creativity. Find a habit that suits you, whether it's meditating, journaling, reading, or simply walking in nature. These moments help you listen to your inner voice and refresh your mind. Strategy 3. Learn to let go. A crucial part of maintaining a positive self-story is letting go of things that don't serve your growth. The Dalai Lama said, "Let go so that you may receive better things." Letting go doesn't mean ignoring difficulties, but learning to view them differently. A failure isn't the end. It's a new chapter in your life story. Consider Steve Jobs. After being ousted from Apple, the company he founded, Jobs didn't let the setback define him. Instead, he used it as an opportunity to learn and innovate, eventually returning to Apple and transforming it into one of the world's most valuable companies, ask yourself, will this matter in the long run? If the answer is no, let it go. Strategy 4. Connect with inspiring people. The people you surround yourself with profoundly influence your self-perception. Seek out those who encourage you to tell a positive story, who push you to grow, and who believe in your potential. Look at J.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, two legendary authors who supported each other creatively. Their friendship not only enhanced their work, but also strengthened their confidence. If you're surrounded by negativity, consider creating some distance. Join supportive communities or groups where you can share and receive encouragement. Strategy 5. Always remember the bigger goal. Your story isn't just for you, it has the power to inspire others. Recognizing that your actions can create value for your family, community, or society gives you the motivation to keep writing your story. Martin Luther King Jr., despite facing discrimination and threats to his life, remained steadfast in his vision for a just society. He said, "If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving forward." Ask yourself, what's the bigger goal I want to achieve? This goal will act as a guiding light when you feel discouraged or uncertain. Maintaining balance and nurturing a positive self-story requires persistence, self-awareness, and a willingness to adapt. By focusing on core values, practicing self-care, letting go of negativity, connecting with supportive people, and remembering your greater purpose, you can craft a beautiful and meaningful story. How to share your story and inspire change. The power of owning your story. Your story is more than just a narrative, it's your truth, your legacy, and a potential source of inspiration for others. By owning your story, you transform from a passive observer of your life into an active creator. Sharing your experiences, challenges, and triumphs allows you to connect with others on a profound level. Consider Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor. In his book, Man's Search for Meaning, Frankl shared his harrowing experiences in Nazi concentration camps and the insights he gained about life's purpose. Frankl's story not only helped him find meaning amidst unimaginable suffering, but also inspired millions worldwide to seek resilience and purpose in their own lives. Sharing your story doesn't mean it has to be perfect. Vulnerability often holds the greatest power. When you openly share your struggles and how you overcame them, you invite others to reflect on their own journeys and find strength in your example. Creating a ripple effect through stories. Stories are contagious. When you share your journey, it sparks a ripple effect. Your courage to embrace and communicate your story might inspire someone else to do the same, creating a chain of positivity and self-awareness. Take the example of Malala Yousafzai. By sharing her story as a young girl who stood up for education in the face of violence, Malala not only changed her life, but also the lives of countless children worldwide. Her words became a movement, proving that one voice, when shared courageously, can echo far beyond its origin. How to begin sharing your story. Start small. Begin by sharing your story with trusted friends or writing it down for yourself. This allows you to process and organize your thoughts. Focus on authenticity. The most compelling stories come from a place of honesty. Don't embellish or hide your imperfections. Embrace them as part of what makes your story unique. How to begin sharing your story. Start small. Begin by sharing your story with trusted friends or writing it down for yourself. This allows you to process and organize your thoughts. Focus on authenticity. The most compelling stories come from a place of honesty. Don't embellish or hide your imperfections. Embrace them as part of what makes your story unique. Finding the right platform. The medium you choose to share your story depends on your comfort and goals. Some may prefer a private journal, while others might take to social media, blogs, or even public speaking. Each platform offers unique opportunities to reach different audiences. Think of Michelle Obama, whose memoir Becoming allowed her to share her life's journey in an intimate yet accessible format. The book resonated with millions because of its authenticity and relatability. By choosing the right platform, Obama connected with people from all walks of life. The benefits of sharing your story. When you share your story, you don't just inspire others, you also transform yourself. Articulating your experiences helps you find clarity, build confidence, and reinforce a positive self-perception. It's a therapeutic process that empowers you to reclaim your narrative. Psychologists have found that sharing personal experiences can improve mental health by reducing stress and strengthening emotional bonds. It reminds us that we're not alone and that our struggles are part of a shared human experience. Empowering your community through stories. Your story can be a tool for social change. By sharing your unique perspective, you contribute to a collective understanding of resilience, compassion, and growth. Think of activists, leaders, and visionaries who have used their personal journeys to inspire movements and create meaningful impact. Your story, too, has the potential to touch lives in ways you may never imagine. Choose the story you tell about yourself. The story you tell about yourself isn't just a sequence of events that happen. It's how you choose to interpret your past, confront your present, and shape your future. Every day, you have the power to write a new chapter, one that's more meaningful and authentic. But the most important thing to remember is this: your story isn't just for you. It can become a source of inspiration and guidance for others on their journey of self-discovery. Take a moment to ask yourself, if someone were to read my story, what would they feel? This isn't just a question. It's an invitation to start telling a new narrative, one of resilience, gratitude, and relentless growth. Are you ready to share your story with the world? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think about the story you're currently telling yourself. What values shape who you are? What life lessons have transformed the way you perceive yourself? Don't forget to share this video with those who might need to hear this message. If you've found this content helpful, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another video. Your story is unique. Let the world see it. And remember, every new day is an opportunity to write a better chapter. What will you tell in your next one? Let's explore that together in the videos to come. See you on the journey to self-discovery.